Did you know that your dreams will always require your healing? It's true, and that could be why you freeze or shut down whenever you try to move towards your own brilliant creativity. This podcast exists to show you exactly why that is and how to move towards creating the things that only you can. So let's go. I'm Courtney Lancaster, and this is the Heal Create Podcast. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Heal Create Podcast. If you were listening to this episode, then that means you got through the holidays of 2023. You made it all the way through the year, and I think that it's a great time to just pause and take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath and think about where you were a year ago and whether you feel like you've moved forward or had an overwhelming year, or you really tackled a lot of your goals and your dreams. You deserve to be celebrated, and you deserve so much compassion and so much hope for another year ahead of you. And that is where I want to go today. So we're going to do something a little bit different. We are going to be working on getting your brain going around this idea that I've been talking about lately with 10 things in 10 years. So this is something that I heard Rachel Hollis talk about years ago. She had said that every morning she wrote down 10 things that she'd like to say are true about herself 10 years from now. And it was during the time when my perspective on healing and wholeness was really changing and shifting a lot. I had been focusing so much on what was wrong and, what needed to be healed within me, and even, trying to tackle all my physical health problems and getting labs done and just seeing different kinds of therapists. And I really couldn't figure out why I was so miserable and so sick almost all the time. And when I heard her talk about this, it was in a book that she wrote called something about Girls Stop Apologizing, I think. And I don't even know how this book crossed my path, because it wasn't necessarily a book that I would have read, especially at the time. I was just so deep into like actual textbooks around, trauma and understanding trauma. And I am grateful, so grateful that I read and studied that so much. But what I really needed at the time was inspiration. And so somehow I got my hands on this book, and it really shifted my perspective. And I remember thinking about 10 things I'd like to say are true about me 10 years from now, and bringing it to my therapist and telling her what that had really done for my experience, my health. I just remember I would write this list and I would think about it, and I would feel so lifted. And I didn't know at the time if I could trust that. I didn't know if that was me avoiding pain. I didn't know what that was about. But she said, no, Courtney, this is it. Dreaming is imperative for healing. You have to give your nervous system somewhere new to go, guys. And I think that so many people don't understand that this whole journey, the healing journey is just, that phrase in and of itself is in the zeitgeist. Everybody's talking about that. But it's really for the purpose of moving you into creativity and connection, and not fixing what's wrong with you. And I'm so much about creativity. I work with a lot of artists and entrepreneurs, and their brains just work a little bit differently. And we have big imaginations, big dreams, and lots of shame and lots of anxiety and racing thoughts. There's so many characteristics of like somebody who would identify as a creative. But the truth is, I think we're all creative. And while I love helping people actually create, their art and their music, and help them, move through whatever medium they prefer, I actually am really passionate about everyone stepping into their creativity, even if it's the creativity that they have for their life. And so that's what I wanted to do in this episode. Was I wanted to do kind of a meditation, and you can either take it as like a, sitting down, closing your eyes, resting meditation. You could take it as a walking meditation, listen to it while you're going on a beautiful walk. Or you could do it as a writing meditation and pause and write down your answers. But I want to walk you guys through something that I walk my clients through and have you start to jog the creative centers of your brain around what your life might look like or could look like in the future. We don't hold these ideas or these dreams that I'm about to invite you to think about with, white knuckling. We hold them with open hands, knowing that like as we evolve and change, our dreams might change, but the essence of them won't. And I think that's why it's really important to dream about your future, because it actually will connect you pretty quickly to your values, and it will show you what it is you value and what it is you'd like to experience here on earth. And the reason why I like the 10-year thing is because I know I've said on this podcast before, but you might have heard the phrase, people will overestimate what they can do in a year and way underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And I've found that that's 100% true for me. I think that this is why so many people get so discouraged within a year, is because they are kind of hoping they can solve all their problems in a year. And they're not looking at the big picture of what might need to be healed in order for some of our dreams to come true, which might take longer. They also might put so much pressure on themselves to get things done in a year that they actually end up sort of sabotaging the things that they actually want to see and create. So we're going to walk through this. And before we do, again, we've already taken a deep breath, but I just want you to scan your body. This is something that I also do with clients. Just noticing what's happening in your body, any sensations, any feelings. And, if there's any anxiety or apathy, any heaviness in your stomach, tightness in your throat, tightness in your shoulders. I'm noticing tightness in my shoulders from some of the holiday chaos that's been happening. Just noticing that, accepting that. It's okay. Whatever it is, it's okay. If you have even a lightness or an openness in your chest, that's beautiful. So what we're going to do is I want you to think about yourself 10 years from now. How old will you be? If you're married, how old will your partner be? How old will your kids be? And if anything was possible for you to experience, then I'm going to go down this list and I want you to think about what would be true for you 10 years from now if anything was possible. First of all, number one, how would you feel in your body? And I want you to start this sentence with, I feel, as if it's 10 years down the road and it has already happened, and it happens, and it's happening. In present tense, I want you to start the sentence, I feel. And I want you to tell me about how you feel in your body. What's your health like? What symptoms have resolved? What do you feel when you wake up in the morning?
You are safer here than any place else. You are safer here than any
Number two, what's your emotional health like most of the time? How do you feel emotionally? What triggers have you resolved? How do you handle triggers now? Number 3, tell me about your family. What is the culture of your home? Are you married? Are you in partnership? What is that relationship like? If you have kids, what's your relationship with them like? What have your kids overcome, if anything? Tell me about your favorite memory with your family, with your kids if you have them, with your partner if you have them. Number 4, what's your community like? Tell me about your friendships, your deepest relationships outside of your family. What are the values that you share with your community? How do you take care of each other and support each other? What is your creativity like? Number 5. What creative projects are you working on now? Do you prefer working on them by yourself, or do you prefer collaborating? How do you feel when you're in the middle of creating something that you love? Number 6, what is your career like? What are you doing for a living? If you don't know the specifics, tell me how it feels to be in your job. Number 7, where do you live? What area do you live in? What kind of neighborhood is your home in? What are your neighbors like? And what's your home like? What does your house feel like when you come home to it at the end of the day? Number 8, how are you doing financially? Have you paid off any debt? Are you living in overflow? What's your relationship with money like now? And what are the ways that you show generosity? Number 9, what do you do for fun? And I want you to describe this in as much detail as you can, whether it's in your brain or on paper. What lights you up? Are you alone? Are you with other people? Tell me about what lights you up. And number 10 years from now, what are you going to say that you have accomplished? Did you run a marathon? Did you go on the journey of regulating your nervous system? Did you resolve your trauma? Did you learn a language? Did you buy your first home? Or start your business? Did you write a book or put out an album? Or heal your relationship with your parents or your kids or your friends? Tell me what you accomplished in the last 10 years. I hope you enjoyed that meditation, that thought jogging exercise. It's something that really pulled me out of some patterns of just cycling around darkness. And the crazy thing about this exercise is there are so many things. I probably started doing this maybe 4 or 5 years ago, which is crazy because that wasn't even that long ago. But most of the things that were on my list from that practice that I did, I would wake up every morning and write these down, have happened. I live in them now. And, you know, when you're going through 10 things that you want to say are true about you 10 years from now, there are so many ways to feel the way that you want to feel. What I mean by that is you could write down the literal dreams, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a big part of the process. It's a great jumping off point for a lot of people, just writing down literally what do I want to experience. They could be material things or whatever. But the truth is that what we're actually looking to create and what your nervous system is telling you through imagining this exercise is what it needs and wants to experience. And the more that you think about it this way, if you think about the different corners of your life and ask yourself, how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel in my job? How do I want to feel in my family, etc.? When you ask yourself how you want to feel, that actually really helps, because it helps you move towards it and create it, because there's actually millions of different ways to experience that feeling that you want to experience. I mean, God knows all the different ways, but my limited brain only knows a couple ways. Like, for example, there are some people that are really wanting to maybe be on a really big stage, and that's their dream, that's their goal. I just want to be on Broadway, I want to be on the stage. And maybe what they actually want to feel is they really want to feel seen. They want to impact a lot of people. They want to express themselves artistically or musically. And there's a lot of different stages for that. There's a lot of different ways to feel that way. And I think that when we take our hands off of the specifics and the details, that really gives God a lot of room to make our dreams come true in ways we could have never imagined that actually are perfect for us. So I hope that you enjoyed this exercise. And this actually comes from my course. I have a course coming out in January called the You Series, and it's for the Stuck Creative. It's a self-led course to help you find your way back home, help you learn how to connect with your actual authentic true self, how to heal what's in the way of you embodying your authenticity, and then how to move into creativity, which is the sign of a human body that feels safe, creativity. There are so many stuck creatives right now, and it's my goal to support them as much as possible, because I think the world needs our art, and I think the world is looking for creative people to see things differently and change what's broken. So look for that course. If you enjoyed this meditation, this will be one of many, many resources that we've been working on for the course that's coming out in January. And guys, this could be a pivot year for you. I know that this was an incredibly magical year for me. After a lot of really tough years of being in the trenches of healing. And I just want you to know healing is so possible. And this year could be the year that you do. So I wish you deep healing and happy creating and happy 2024. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Heal Create podcast. If you have enjoyed this podcast at all, we would love if you would subscribe, rate it, send it to your friends. That would really help us get this message out, this message of empowering people towards emotionally sustainable creativity. Also, we have a PDF for you. So there's an exercise that I created called Inspiration Mirroring. And basically, it is for those that are looking to get acquainted with their authentic, truest self, based on the idea that whatever inspires you embodies your potential. And so if you want to get started on that journey today of really understanding who you are at your core, the person that you hope you are, then you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram or go to my website and download that PDF. I think that's it. Have a beautiful day.